Hello, everyone. Welcome to another webinar from the Ability series. Today, we'll be talking about remedial strategies for 4Ds, that is dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and dyspraxia. We will be learning about practical tips for educators and parents by Mrs. Balasaraswathy Nair, who's the founder and online remedial coach of the LD remedial world. More about her a little later. Let us give a couple of more minutes for more of our friends to join us. Till then, why don't you guys enjoy the good music? Okay, so like I was saying, today we'll be talking about remedial strategies for 4Ds, dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and dyspraxia, practical tips for educators and parents by none other than Mrs. Balasaraswathy Nair. But before I tell you more about her, a quick and brief introduction about Ability. For us as an organization, all carers of children with special needs are at the center of our universe. Our mission is to give every child an opportunity to thrive. Our mission is to make things easier for all the caregivers by making resources more accessible, affordable, and effective for everyone. And of course, that is only possible with the collaboration of caregivers like you all. So thank you all so much for your support. Ability brings to you a host of other support systems such as community, resources, so that no one of us should have to do this alone. Everyone should be given the opportunity to enable the best possible chance of discovering their child's true potential. One way you can access the resources from Ability is by visiting app.ability.com and clicking on the resources tab here. This platform has, like I already mentioned, host and a whole wide range and variety of resources that might help children with special needs. So do check it out. The link is being shared in the chat box right now. Also, you can find useful videos on our YouTube channel by subscribing to it. If you haven't already subscribed, there are more than hundreds of useful videos. The link to the YouTube channel is also being shared in the chat box. And you can also follow us on Facebook to stay posted about the offerings, events, and tools from Ability. One way to stay posted about the events from Ability is again by visiting app.ability.com and clicking on the events tab here. This page has a record of all our upcoming sessions and also the past ones which are now available under the on-demand category. So you can access this page and register for events, watch the sessions on demand, and register for the live ones. All you need to do is have your Ability account. If you have registered for any of the past events from Ability, you must already have an Ability account. All you need to do is enter your login details to enter your Ability account, and then you can register for any of the workshop or webinar being organized by Ability by simply clicking on this orange button visible here. Yes, it's that easy. A click of a button can help you register for any of the events from Ability. Also, you can subscribe for Ability membership, which will make it pretty convenient for you to attend the workshops being organized from Ability across different learning paths. You can either opt for an annual membership, quarterly membership, or a monthly membership as is suited for you all. So like I was saying, these workshops are designed across different learning paths, which are specially designed by experts from around the world, along with the collaboration of Ability team. These learning paths are around special different conditions of special needs, behavioral challenges, speech and language related challenges, motor skills, remedial education, and many more are getting introduced along the way. These learning paths will cover the essential knowledge, strategies and interventions, assessment tools, along with some case studies and activities for you to get a wholesome picture of what the learning path will entail. And like I was saying, Ability is very keen on introducing new tools and new methods to help the community better. We have recently trying to learn from you and understand from you what are your opinions for checklist. So we have launched a portal where you can register your interest for ability checklist, and then based on your responses and votes we will come up with the top 3 most voted checklist will come up first, and we will come up with a huge wide range of ability checklist. So if you haven't yet registered your interest or given your votes for the checklist that you would want to access for free, now is the right time to do it. Please find the link in the chat box to be able to register your interest for ability checklist. And now, without further ado, coming to our speaker for the day, Mrs. Balasaraswathy Nair, founder of an online remedial coach for LD Remedial World. She has trained over 20,000 teachers and parents who have helped children to overcome learning disability. She has 25 years of experience in mainstream schools with leadership roles across ICSE, CBSE, SSC, IB, and NIOS boards. She has 10 years of experience in special education as the founder of Vedas Education, Schooling Without Boundaries. What a fantastic tagline. She has also additional 10 years of experience as Director of Training for Special Educators in Veda's Ignite Academy for Inclusive Education, 12 years of experience as Managing Trustee of Prayas Charitable Foundation. And she has, apart from all this rich experience, she has personally helped more than 300 children with LD to become self-reliant. So the learnings and lessons that we are going to receive today is coming from a lot and lot of experience, years of experience and practice. So really excited about it. Without further ado, Madam Balasaraswathy Nair, I would request you to take over and enlighten our audience with your years of experience and knowledge.
Thank you so much, Swati, for this wonderful introduction and giving me this opportunity to connect with great learners across the world. I'm honored, I'm blessed, and I'm delighted to share my journey with these kids. All right. So I'm sure majority of you already know what is learning disability, because there has been various sessions on this previously on the details of what is learning disability. When you look at this child, you can very, very in simple terms understand how confused, chaotic, disturbed, and disappointed his journey as a student is. He finds the words, the letters, the alphabets, the numbers, everything not the way we can see, we normal brains can see. So does that mean this child has some retardedness? Of course not. So learning disability is basically a problem with reading, writing, maths, and body coordination. These kids look absolutely normal. And what are they normal at? They're normal at looks, they're normal at singing, dancing, music, watching TV, playing games, everything is normal. So what's not normal with them is the way they read, is the way they write, is the way they do maths. So there are 4 different kinds of categories under learning disability: dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and dysgraphia. So dyslexia has to do with where kids have reading problem. Dysgraphia is a writing problem. Dyscalculia is a math problem. And dysgraphia is where the body coordination, that is children not able to hold the grip of, hold the pencil, hold cup, the mobile keeps falling from their hand, the ball keeps falling from their hand. And these are the 4 categories. In a session like this, I cannot go deep into how, what, why of LD, because this session is more on remedial strategies. So before I go further, I want each one of you to read the first word. And I don't know if you're allowed to come on audio or video. Otherwise, you can type what is the first word. Let's do some activity. What is the first word? Fantastic. Mubashira Begum writes, it is popcorn. Excellent. But can we normally see it as pop? Can we quickly look at it and see it as popcorn. Of course not, right? That's how an LD child looks at this word. This is how, and how do you expect this child to read it? The second word is baby, absolutely right. And the third word is baby, daddy pushed the baby's pram. So if the alphabets are topsy-turvy, alphabets are reversals, alphabets are mirror imaging, that's what the child sees when he tries to read. So what's happening? What's the whole science of reading? When we look at a word, what happens? Our brain decodes the word. A normal brain decodes the word in a much faster pace when we are taught to read. But what happens to a dyslexic brain? There are four areas we use when we decode the word. That is visual processing, processing rate at which the word is decoded, verbal short-term memory, and phonology. That means every alphabet has a sound, and that sound and alphabet has to match. And all these words with sounds and alphabets have to form a word in a particular time and go to our word identification area in our brain. Then it goes into the memory, and then finally it goes to formation of a word with an image associated with it. So this is how we remember a word, any word. Now this whole process of remembering, identifying the word and remembering, the process of decoding is the most challenging for dyslexic children. And that is why when we give them a book or a word to read, they are just staring at the book and unable to do it. So this is their biggest challenge. Now, as I said in this short workshop webinar, I cannot go in detail. So I'm directly going to the solutions that can be provided, because ultimately after diagnosing what a teacher or parent needs is a help, how to help the child. So let me come to the first solution. The first solution is, suppose a child is not able to read full lines. Generally what happens when we open a book and ask the child to read, he starts from the first line and suddenly you realize he's jumped to the second or the third line and lost. The children in the other children in the classroom laugh. The teachers teachers shouting at the child saying, how come you cannot see? But that's so common with these children, they skip the line. So what do? There are these specially designed rulers with different colors, which are excellent tool for such children. Every teacher, every parent can have this tool. Once given to the child, he has to just keep it on the line on which he has to read, and different colors help them. The visibility of the word or the sentence is much clearer. These rulers are very easily available in the Amazon or online market, also in offline market, and they're a fantastic tool. I've been using it for so many years. The second big challenge that these kids face with is identification between left and right hand, or left and right side of the table, and how to go to the left side or the right side. So my simplest method, which I have been practicing and which has been absolutely successful, is teach any one hand, either left or right, and emphasize on doing all the activities with that hand. Either you paint the finger, or you tie a ribbon in the hand, or you put a ring on that hand, or you write an L on the hand, and stick to utilizing that particular hand for most of the time till the child is sure of the left hand. Once you know the left hand, you already know the right hand. The strategy number 3, difficulty in remembering important points or difficulty in remembering a paragraph also. So what we need to do is, generally we ask the child to read the paragraph and he gets stuck at the third or the fourth word. So first identify the new words in the passage. Let the child practice those new words separately. I emphasize this word new words because in our schooling system, I've always heard teachers say difficult words. When we introduce a new chapter, the teacher says difficult words. I don't know why we make things more difficult by using a difficult word. So I've always said use word, new words. So child feels I'm going to learn something new. And those words should be separately underlined, highlighted, practiced, and then asked to read the entire paragraph. So once you once you know the pronunciation of these new words, the child is more confident to read the entire passage. Strategy number 4, how to revise before test. Oh, that's a big challenge for these kids because they forget everything before the test. One of the tools which I have used for years together is called mind map. I'm sure some of you must be using, but it's such a beautiful tool which we can start using from pre-KG right till class 12. Now this tool is mind map, is where you put the words you put the main topic of the content in the center, and then in these in these other arrows that you see, the yellow area and the blue area, you can extend the topic. For example, we put plant in the center if you're talking about a primary child, and then you put, okay, the different kinds of leaves in the yellow, the different kinds of roots in the blue, maybe the different seeds, that kinds of seeds you should have in a plant. And similarly, you can, break this into the entire theme, and children with LD learn better with visualization, and they remember images faster to reproduce in their tests and examinations. For example, like this is a very simple technique of showing how a mind map can be. The whole topic of dysgraphia is depicted in the form of a mind map. Now, as I said before, dysgraphia has to do with writing disability. All the kids may not have all disabilities. One disability might be very strongly noticed in the child. One might be dominant, but there's a possibility that they can have 2 or 4, with one of them being dominant. So let's go to the writing disability. So what are the challenge? What are the solutions for writing disability? Majority of time, the way the child holds the pencil has to be closely observed, and most of the time the pencil grip is wrong. In spite of repeated practice, the child is still not able to do it. So this particular pencil grip tool is a fantastic tool. Again, as I said, I've been using it with kids, and this pencil grip has helped the children to hold it with firmness and write it with confidence and improve their handwriting. Are you all finding value in these solutions? If you are, please type value if you're finding all this. Am I not audible? Yeah, is there problem in my am I not audible?
You're clearly audible,
I am.
Ma'am
Okay,
Balasaraswathy, and the chat box is filled with words like value.
Thank you. Thank you. So next we go to difficulty in writing with specific areas. I'm sure you have seen kids who write like this. They themselves don't know what they are writing. This child has to write something, has tried to write something very, very valuable, but none of us can read it. So what do? Generally, we ask them to rewrite or, copy again, and by the time the child makes an attempt once or twice, he or she is already absolutely tired and exhausted. You know why? Because their brain works 5 times harder than our brains do. They are very slow, their processing is very slow, and because their brain works 5 times harder, they get very tired. So let me give you a technique for writing solution. Use graph paper. Now take a graph paper like this, write the alphabet, which is really not, the child is unable to write well. I have taken an example of A, but you can take any alphabet. Write it on a full graph paper. Step 2, divide the graph paper into 4 and again ask the child to write there. Again, divide it into further boxes. Now what's happening? You are minimizing the size of the size of the alphabet using a graph paper. This practice, which I have been doing with kids, has helped my kids improve their alphabet writing also and word writing also. You can do the same thing. You can ask a child to write a big word like an elephant or any word here, and then go and break it down to smaller area and further small and further small. This is so beautiful, so simple, non-expensive, can be practiced by any parent, any teacher, anybody at home. You don't have a graph paper now, take a paper and draw lines with a pencil, and it helps. Let me go to the next strategy, complaints of discomfort while writing. Nowadays, kids are found sitting and writing anywhere, not because schools is not there. At home, they are lying down, they are sleeping and writing, they're writing on the dining table without proper sitting. For them, a proper seating and the height of the table is a very, very crucial requirement. In fact, it's for all of us, especially when we are online, how we sit and at what height our laptop is will not give us trouble with the back pain and those kind of trouble. So very, very important that the posture of the child is keenly observed by the parent and the teacher when the child is writing. Oh, they have a huge confusion between consonants and vowels. They're all the time confused because for them, these letters all look the same. They're designed, for them, it's all design. So what do? Try to use one color for vowels. And why do I say vowels? Because they're only few in number. So use make sure that you use vowels with the same color. You can choose any color you want, and everywhere you write it with that. And as a child also to use that color to write the vowels. This discriminates between the two, and the child is able to remember this very well. Now let me go to dyscalculia, maths difficulty. Normal maths fear and dyscalculia are very different. Normal maths here is fear of maths, but they may not have fear of numbers. I mean, confusion of numbers. Here the problem is the child sees 4 and 5, if written on the blackboard, the child would see it as 5 and 4. That means 54 on the blackboard can become 45 in the notebook. 69 on the blackboard can become 96 in the notebook. That's, when you copy a number wrong, you're obviously going to do the sum wrong. So here I give you another strategy for helping a child with integrated concepts. Like I said, dyslexia is a big challenge. Reading is a big challenge for when you are doing maths. When you're doing a lot of maths, there is reading. And if you can't read, even if you know maths, it's a problem. So the best technique I've used, I've trained many teachers, is draw the picture. Whatever you can draw it, because they are visual learners. With images, these kids learn much better. Let's go to how to remember numbers. We can sing and make the children remember numbers. We can dance, we can draw, and we can touch. This works very well. Even a parent at home in a pre-primary, when the children are learning numbers, if they can't remember, you need to write the numbers on the back, on the hand, on the head, on the legs, different parts of the body, like some game. And children have the tactile feel of these numbers, and they are able to remember it very well. Keep playing dual game, like the child does it with you and you do it with a child. Let me go to another strategy, how to teach odd and even numbers. Another confusion, like left and right. Children forget to remember odd and even numbers. You can use a dice to play a game with the help of these coins. Have a chart where you have odd and even, run the dice, and whatever number comes in that, ask them to write on either of the columns and have a score sheet. Another technique that I can tell you is use a chessboard. In chessboard, you have only blacks and whites. So ask the child to, without the chess coins, you can have the chessboard, throw the dice, and each one of you on one side, one can be an even number person and the other can be an odd number person. So whenever an odd number comes on the dice, you take a chance to take a step and, keep moving in the direction. And whenever an even number comes, that follows. So this, doing it twice or thrice, the children learn these even and odd numbers very well. Now let me come to another strategy. Fourth, difficulty in recognizing number quantity. Number image and number quantity are different. For normal people, it's very normal kids, you and me, everybody, it's very easy when we say 45. We can have something in our mind as what is the quantity of 45. But our dyscalculic children, when you say 5 or when you say 7, they can't understand the quantity related to the image of 5. Because 5 is an image. 5 doesn't describe quantity. Though in our primary schools we teach with different objects, but still these kids have trouble. So I have tried many techniques and I found this technique was super. Use dice all the time till the children are sure, till number 6, number 8. You can create your own dice of different with different cardboard with different numbers. And each time you throw, they can touch, count, and remember the alphabet, remember the numbers very well. Now let me come to the fourth kind of challenge that these children face, that is dyspraxia, where the children have problem with body coordination. That means they drop balls while playing games, they drop pen, pencil, they drop a cup. So many times crockery breaks in the house because they don't have a proper grip. And as they grow older, this continues, and that's why their rooms are clumsy. The cupboards are a mess because they cannot think properly. Even they find during driving also, they find a lot of challenges when this continues. As adults, they face major challenges when they have dyspraxia. So let me give you some exercises which can help these kids, which can be done even in online mode and offline mode. Now, when the child drops the ball very frequently when he's playing, what happens? the other members in the team do not want this child, and he says, you are all the time dropping the ball. Now what's happening to the self-esteem of this child? In the class the teacher doesn't want, or in the class he's so slow that he's not able to cope up with the speed of other children. As a result, he is termed slow in the class. Now while playing the game, he drops the ball so often that the score of the team is not as good. So what is the final result? his he's removed from the team, and his self-esteem or her self-esteem is really damaged. And over a period of time, the children stop making attempts. So let me give you a very simple exercise where you can strengthen the wrist of the child and improve the ability of grip. This is something which the child can do while you're watching TV, while you're just sitting idle and talking, while you're just walking around, moving the wrist left and right 20 times a day at different times can strengthen the muscles beautifully and help the children. The next one, pencil dropping. These kids drop pencil very frequently, as I said. So pen spin is a fantastic method where you put the pen or a pencil in the center like this, and you do this. Obviously, it will fall. Pick it up and get this done again. This holding of the pencil like this helps their muscles to strengthen. They're very simple techniques. And I've practiced all this, found great results, and that's exactly why I'm sharing a few. Okay, poor eye-hand coordination. Again, because of that, kids drop things from the hand. Something which works like magic is take a card, draw some track on the floor, either with a tape or a chalk or anything, crayon, and ask the child to run that on that rock, on that track, which is a game which they love. Generally, kids hold the car and keep dragging it along. But when you give a track, the child has to follow the track on the floor, by which the eyes and the hand coordination strengthens, improves, and even handwriting has improved by this practice. The next strategy is on when the children break crayons very, very frequently, because their pressure points of that on the crayon is at different places. So what do? Use simple pinching clothespins with each finger. Pick up something, drop it. Like pick up a sponge, drop it somewhere else. And these things, we all of us find it in our house. They are they are used for the drying of the clothes. You can use it to pick up a pencil. You can use it to pick up a ball, soft ball, paper, anything in the house, and they can practice this. This pressure strengthen their muscles. Now, these were a few strategies that I could share with you in the time available. Now, let me tell you, what is your secret of helping these children? What are those golden rules which you must keep in mind as a parent, as a teacher, and which I have practiced in the last 20 years? Do you want to know these golden rules? If yes, please type GR. If you want to know the golden rules, please type GR. Thank you very much. My first golden rule is be patient. You will not get results with LD children or any special needs children very quickly. Your patience will bring victory to the child. In one case, I was patient for almost 1.5 years. And I knew these strategies that I was trying is going to help this child, so I didn't give up. Generally, what happens as special educators, remedial educators, teachers, parents, we try the techniques for a couple of times, but after a while, when we don't get results, because all of us want to work with results, we give up or we stop doing it. So who's at loss? Do you realize it's a child at loss, because the attempt of repeating that activity has stopped, because of which his progress is going to slow down. So what, as an adult, I would say is have lots of patience and believe in yourself that your child will improve. Number 2, build up on the child's strength. This ability, look at this beautiful word, learning disability. The word dis is only 3 letters, but the ability has a more number of alphabets and more possibilities. So every LD child has super ability. For example, they're very good at, many of them I have met are very good at singing or music or art or dance or theater or leadership qualities, or they can solve problems, out of the box problems they can solve. They can come up with amazing ideas. That's the beauty of these children. So when you focus on their strength and encourage their strength and support their strength, the area where they are weak in will definitely start becoming better. A very, very, very important thing for these kids is use short sentences and simple vocabulary. If you are Indians and you have seen this movie Tare Zameen Par, in that the English teacher reads out, take out English book, chapter number 12, page number 13, paragraph number 3, line number 4. Now there are 7 instructions in this. Now, by the time the boy in the movie picks up that book, he's already forgotten what is he supposed to do. And he just tries to open the book, and the teacher again shouts at him saying, asking the neighboring child to open the book or help the child to open the book to that page. I am sure you have definitely seen this scene. Now, how do we help these kids is they cannot remember more than 3 instructions. And recently I met an adult, husband who was saying, who had dyslexia, who mentioned that my wife gives a list of 9 to 10 things to purchase, and I can remember only 3 out of it, and because of which I'm always shouted at. So of course now she started giving it to him in writing, because he never disclosed to her that he had dyslexia. They hide this because they are blamed, they are laughed at, they are humiliated as they grow older. Of late, I've been working a lot with the adult dyslexic, and I really feel bad for them, the way they share their worries. One girl recently lost her job because she couldn't draft a letter well, whereas she's a fantastic person while it comes to anchoring a show. And the manager or the organization leader did not see the quality of her, instead of saw that she couldn't draft a mail well. So I've been doing a lot of work on how to bring awareness in children, in adults with dyslexia. So do use short sentences and simple vocabulary to help them. Thank you so much. I have lots and lots of strategies, but for the time available, this is what I could share. I have an online platform where there are more than 300 strategies, and a lot of people have joined that. So thank you so much. Over to Swati.
Thank you, Balasaraswathy. This was such an informative and engaging session. I'm sure people must have learned a lot from today's session. And like we could see, the chat box is filled with words of gratitude for you. But before we move on to the next segment of the event and I start asking questions that we have received from all these people, I would like to inform all the attendees that if you wish to attend the next workshop scheduled from Ability, please do find the link in the chat box that is being shared right now. The next workshop is on screening and assessment for writing and reading skills. Please do register if you are interested. Also, the link for the upcoming webinar scheduled on 3rd of June is also being shared in the chat box. If you wish to register, please do. Okay, so we have received a lot of questions, and I would like to begin with the first one, which is a common question amongst all educators and teachers. How to help, this has been asked by Shabnam, Louisa, Redenta, and so many others. How to help children with LD in a regular classroom? If you could share some tips that teachers can follow in a regular classroom setup.
Absolutely. Online or offline? That's the question now.
Yeah, I think so. I have a range of other questions for online teaching. No, so maybe we'll cover offline in this front.
Yeah, if this front is offline, then, if the teacher learns to teach any topic in VAKT. What is VAKT? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile. Especially in pre-primary and primary, if you can use these 4 techniques to teach any topic, like use drama, use movement, use images, and use auditory. Why LD? Why anybody? All children will learn it parallelly, because they need multi-sensory method to learn. And LD children are almost 15% in every classroom, at least in India, and US says 1 in every 5 is LD in US too. So there are, this is the best method. Using visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile methods can help, and any topic can be designed in that order and can help them to learn much better. Because if you tell me specifically a topic, then I can, break it down further, but I don't know how much time we have to do that.
Yeah, we do have some time in our hand to elaborate further, but I think so. Let's cover some of the questions that we have received first, and then maybe we could get into greater depth. So the next one that we have is from Meeta Benipuri. Meeta is asking us how to identify learning challenges while teaching online. If you could share some tips and strategies to improve the learning outcomes also while teaching online.
Yeah. So today online is a big challenge. Now, when you have 40 to 50 children, let's say average 40 as per India, I don't know how many countries, participants of how many countries are here. But if you even take 30 to 40 on average, it's a bigger challenge now, because in a classroom, at least you're giving a reading time of 15 minutes. If on an average, I would say children, 4 to 5 children get an opportunity to read in a normal classroom. But in an online session, I think there's hardly any reading happening, to be very honest, because within 30 to 40 minutes, the teacher is expected to finish the curriculum and move to the next thing. So reading, not only LD, children generally have stopped reading, have reduced reading. And that's why I've been pushing this whole idea to parents all the time in all my YouTube videos, in all my FB videos. I keep talking about it, that do spend some extra time with your child only on reading practice. It doesn't matter what you read, whether it is newspaper, a magazine, an article, something from the anything, but the whole idea of reading, because our brain needs to process. See, speaking is a natural process, but reading is not. Reading is a conscious process. So reading will not come till we make effort, and reading is not happening. So what do we do in an online mode? If the topics that you are teaching can be taught with visuals and images quickly, then you should spend a lot of time on giving children opportunity to read. Because when one child is reading, all the other children are also looking at the screen. And that will help their reading process to continue.
Great. Hopefully that is helpful for you, Meeta. The next one is from Supriya. Supriya is asking us, how important is parental psychoeducation now that we are observing that the cases with children with learning difficulties is increasing at a much higher rate? So if you could share some tips on ways in which the educators can psychoeducate parents about the condition their child is in or the challenges the child is facing.
Okay. So first of all, you will always observe, which I have observed, is parents do not have an acceptance. This is the first line any educator will say, that no, my child has no problem. So I always tell the educator, you accept that the parent will accept like this. So let's not argue on this point. Because what a parent is going through is a bigger challenge than what I am going through as an educator, right? So let's accept that they will not accept. Now what will you do? Will we stop helping the child? That's my next step. I will not. We should not. As a teacher, we should not. Because the child is with me for the next, say, 4 hours in an offline school. If it is a pre-primary, 6 hours in a normal primary school. So what is it that I can contribute or give to the child extra that I can do in my available time? So if you convey to a parent that I know your child needs some extra help, and I want to give that extra help to the child by providing some specially designed worksheets for the child, or can you get this done at home for it without any labeling, without any telling the parent that your child has a problem. I've seen it's much easier, because when we volunteer to help and guide a parent, the parent definitely supports us. The problem is when we find fault and say that your child is this, go get an assessment done, XYZ. Why? You have identified, you try to help. If not identified, then of course the school authority can help to identify. So second, parents' acceptance takes time. Secondly, be warm with the parent all the time, because for us, it's like 1 year with the child, but for the parent, it's lifetime. So just be warm and helpful in whatever way you can to bring that trust in the parent. I don't know, schools can conduct workshops of parent and give these sessions to bring awareness. So what you can also do is regularly organize awareness sessions. Why? Especially for LD, because their ratio in amongst all the other disabilities is 33% in India itself. Amongst the total number of disabilities, 33% of 33% of children are LD, which is a huge number. So I think every school needs to give a general awareness about what it is parent may or may not have, but it's important to give the guidelines on this subject.
Totally. Awareness is quintessential, and that's what we are trying to generate and reach out to far and, reach out far and wide in terms of generating awareness. Hopefully, Team Ability is able to contribute in this regard to a certain extent. And with professionals like you and a very engaging community, I think so we would be successful in taking this awareness far and wide. The next question that we have is from Sasi Rekha. Sasirika is asking us if pencil holding, the right technique is really important. One of our students who has ASD, the pencil holding technique is a little different. The handwriting is okay, but when Sasi tried to change the technique of pencil holding, the child loses his normal handwriting. So, what would you advise in this particular case? Should she try to change the way the child holds the pencil or leave it as it is?
Yeah. So I would say leave it as it is, because if the child is able to hold the grip and still write well the way he's doing, just leave it. Let the child do it. It's like the debate between cursive and print, which is more important and which should be taught. So I'm always debating on it. If the child is comfortable with a cursive, leave the child to cursive. If the child is comfortable with print, leave the child to print. This is my philosophy. Because unnecessarily asking the child to shift from A to B and B to C, especially during technological world, doesn't make any sense at all, because we have actually stopped writing. All of
Right.
us write very well. When we are, writing itself is so less. We will never stop reading, but we have the amount of writing has reduced. So it doesn't matter. So if the child is able to hold the grip in whatever comfortable he or she is, because you also said he has ASD, which is another kind of problem, then it's just fine. You're doing a great job. You just leave it like that and keep appreciating the writing.
Totally.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Balasaraswathy. The next one, actually, we have a couple of requests from few of the people who are watching us live via Zoom. They would want you to repeat the strategies that you shared related to the use of dice. So if you could repeat those particular strategies, I think so it will help a lot of members who are watching this session live.
Okay, so do you want me to take it to the slide again? Then I can do that.
That would help.
Yeah, so I'll just go back. Okay. So one of the strategies, when you have a dice like this, where you can, put a finger and touch it, by every time you roll the dice, some number will be on the top, and ask the child to touch with the finger on all those numbers and repeat. This registers the number in the child's brain. So every time you do it, the number will be never in sequence. Generally, when we teach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We keep doing this, which is so boring. But when you do it with a dice, the child finds it like a game. And every time a new number will come in on the top, and that is the one you have to ask to touch and say. Count and say, the right thing I should say. Count and say, by which the number registers in the child's head. And there are three things happening. One is touch, one is say, and one is the child is seeing the number. So already VAKT is happening with the child. So learning becomes so easy. Now let me also tell you about the chessboard. I think I said it very fast. I'm sorry, I don't have the chessboard image here. I should have tried. So in the chessboard, there is black and white. I'll just change this. So in the chessboard, there is black and white column, we all know. So on either side, if it is a parent and a child sitting on, let me take an example of a parent and child. One side a parent, one side the child. Both of you have 1 point. Roll the dice, and whatever number comes, and you choose who's going to be odd and who's going to be even. Suppose me and Swati play this game. So suppose I am taken the odd and Swati is taken the even number. Then when I throw the dice, suppose 5 comes and odd is mine. So only I can take the coin ahead with 5 steps. Now, now it is Swati's turn to roll the dice, and suppose she rolls a dice and she also gets an odd. She loses a chance because she can play only when an even number comes. So imagine if
Right.
we do this at least 10 to 12 times, the odd and the even number is going to register in our head permanently, right?
Great. Such a useful technique. In fact, my next question was from Padmavati, who was asking us how to use the dice strategy to explain odd and even. I think so. You have already answered that question. Hopefully, that helps you, Padmavati. So interesting techniques, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay,
I mean,
the
everybody's
next,
writing so much good. I can't read your names. I'm very sorry. It's really fast. But thank you so much for your appreciation. Thank you. And do it. I've done all this with children and teachers, and all my workshops are very activity oriented. Thank you. Yeah, Swati.
right. The next question that we have is from Archana. Archana is asking us, what if a child complains of headache during writing? Should she consider this as a sign of LD, or any lesson that she should take from this particular thing?
Okay. So if it is frequently happening, that is, frequency can be, say, if I say in a week, 3 to 4 times, then yes, kindly get the parent informed and get him checked with a doctor. There is a great chance he might be giving an excuse, but it's important for us to tell the parent that, the child is complaining. There is also a possibility he might have problem with vision. There is also a possibility that because their brain works 5 times harder, they get exhausted very fast. They ask for more sleep. So if it is just once in a while, then no, you don't need to worry at all. It
Right.
need not be LD. I mean, it can be a medical reason, but it need not be.
Got it. Hope that helps you, Archana. So you need to keep watch on the frequency and then take a decision accordingly. Okay, the next question that we have is from Quinin Nazira. She's asking us, and has in fact stated that the child is 5 years old, is very talkative, and does all the work I give him at home. However, at school, the child doesn't listen to his teacher, and neither does he complete his work or writing, reading, etc. So, if you could guide Nazira as to why this is happening and what can she do to support the child better.
Okay, so Nazira, with the little information that I actually have about the child needs recognition in school. Maybe the child is not getting a lot of time to talk because you said he's talkative. So talkative children want audience. And if the child is repeatedly asked, what happens, even I have done this mistake in my early teacherhood, where you want to teach so much and the children keep talking, you ask the child to keep quiet all the time. And that hurts children who are talkative. So when I learned that I am doing something wrong, what I decided is I divided my chapter between me and that child. So I gave him a section for him to teach in the class every time. So that gave that child a responsibility, even a preschool child or a primary child. I have taught all levels, but majorly I used to teach in senior, secondary and higher secondary. So when you give a small portion of that content for him to come and do a presentation and talk, the child gets an audience, the child gets to talk, the child's self-esteem is raised, and the child's performance will automatically be nice, and the child needs attention from you. And definitely the teacher's change will help the child to progress much better.
Great. Hope that helps you, Nazira. Okay, the next one that we have is from a couple of people apart from Supriya. They're asking, with online classes, the writing activity of children has come down significantly. So, what should educators and teachers do during these times of online classes to keep the students and children more engaged in the activity of writing?
Yeah, during offline classes there is a lot of copywriting in our schools, I mean, I'm not somebody who's in favor of that, but it's like, the classwork is given and again the child is asked to copy the whole thing, which is not a very good way of making children learn. Children love to write if there's something very engaging and exciting. So if you can provide crossword puzzles, which is very easily available in Google, so many places for them. So they love to solve things. They love to solve puzzles instead of just sitting and writing. That can help kids and make it very exciting. Number two, I would request parents to be involved in writing, in the sense, can a parent plan a writing time in their house where everybody is doing some kind of writing? Like, maybe there are parents who have forgotten to who wanted to write a book and never thought about it because of the busyness in the life, or write something. So take this as an opportunity in the online world now to find a half an hour time, a 20-minute time where it's called a writing time. So everybody in the house is writing, the digital tools and everything is set aside, and it's only writing happening. Even a 15 to 20 minutes of writing daily can help the children to extend it at a later stage, but make a beginning with it at least 10, 15, 20 minutes. Anything, it's not important you write what the teacher's given in the school. Write anything. Right. Either you copyright, you think of a story and write, or you see something on a video and then write something. Thank you. I hope that addresses.
Yeah, I hope so too. And rightfully said, if the child is engaged in writing with an interesting activity, I think so there's no going back. So offline or online, all the modes will work. The next question that I have is from Virginia.
Somebody just said writing their traveling experience. Yeah, I mean, you can just think of anything today.
Yeah.
Watch a news piece and then let's sit and write about it, something about it. And it need not be recall and write. See, recall and write, sorry Swati for interfering, I just got an idea. So recall and write can be very boring. Many a times we say, okay, you went on a holiday, you write. It's so boring for children. Instead of that, you give them an open-ended line. Ask them to write what would happen if. And that's where exploration happens, and no judgment to write. When you are asking a child to write, especially LD, children have great ideas, but if you start focusing on the spelling, they will not write. So when kids with LD have amazing idea, but the problem is they cannot reproduce the idea into paper. Right. So as a parent, I would say, ask the child to narrate and you write. And once you write, ask the child to read. And if possible, make a mistake when you write. When you make a mistake, you write, he will say, no, this is not what I said. So then ask the child to correct. So this is how you will involve the child and ultimately make him responsible for his writing.
Right. Interesting. I think so. All the people are learning so much from you, Balasaraswathy ma'am. Okay, the next one that we have is from Virginia. So Virginia is asking us, I'm sorry, I'm rushing up on the questions because I want to cover as many as possible in the limited time period that we have. Virginia is asking us if dyslexia can be corrected or cured, if you could throw some light.
Actually, dyslexia can only be treated. That is, if you are born with it, you have it all your life. But you can really improve in the areas of challenge. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Richard Branson, we wouldn't have Pablo Picasso, we wouldn't have Albert Einstein. They were all dyslexic, and many more. I can't think of many names now. So many dyslexic in America, at least they are announcing they are. In India also there are, but people don't want to announce that they have a problem. In India, the only person who has announced is Abhishek Bachchan. Abhishek Bachchan has a lot of problem with reading and writing. So his dialogues are taught to him in a different way. Maybe now he's overcome it, but he was an ambassador for dyslexia, and he did come and do some promotion in one of the DPS schools in Gujarat, which I remember very well, that he has LD. So, sorry, I think I drifted off. Yeah, so it can be treated with strategies. Now, LD can only, and now I say it can only be treated with strategies and not by the psychologist. Psychologist's job is to assess. Once they are assessed and diagnosed, they have a problem. In my journey, I've seen the only people who can help children are teachers and not even special educators. Let me tell you. Why no? Because, you know, when we do special education, they specialize in any one disability. Though they are taught of all the 20 or 18 disabilities we have, but they specialize in, say, hearing impaired or visual impaired or mentally retarded. Now, somebody who's specializing in mentally retarded may not have strategies for an LD child, because LD
Right.
child is a normal IQ child. He needs a different strategy. So who can do it? The only person who can do it is a normal teacher. And a normal teacher, when I say normal teacher, a teacher of a school, a regular teacher of a school is not taught how, is not is not upgraded with these skills. And that's exactly, I'm on a mission to make 1 lakh remedial teachers in this country. I've not reached so far. So that's why I've created a platform where I've made all the solutions for teachers. They just have to join the system, be a part of it. I give online coaching to them regularly and they implement it. Parents can also implement and teachers can also implement it in the classroom, in one-to-one, in online, everywhere. All teachers in India can learn how to help. You don't need to be a special educator. That's the beauty.
Beautiful. That's a wonderful work that you are doing out there,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
And
Thank you.
we would like to offer you support in every possible
Thank
way.
you.
The next question that we have is from Heather, and multiple others have also asked this. If you could recommend some books or documentaries that people can watch to understand about LD better, do you have some suggestions in
Yeah,
mind?
I've been reading this book for last 2 years. I'll show it to you also. This is a wonderful book, Overcoming Dyslexia. I mean, it's amazing. This author, Sally E. Shevitz, has tried to cover from the angle of a parent, from the teacher's viewpoint, from the student's viewpoint, even adult. So somebody really wants to go deeper into dyslexia, I think this is a beautiful book. It's called Overcoming Dyslexia. If somebody can type it. And of course, there are many, many documentaries, but one that I can suggest is I can do this, but I can't do this, but I can do that. The line itself gives all the answers, right? I can't write, but I can do a lot of other things. So can you give me those other things to do? So this is by Ellen Gusenberg Kent. It's a beautiful documentary and it's an eye opener in a lot of areas.
Wow. Love the title of the documentary. Definitely, I've tried to type it out for the people. If my team members could help and spread it further to all the audience, the recommended books and documentaries, so that people can understand LD better.
Yes.
Okay, since we are running short of time, I am going to take two last questions for today's session. The second last question that I have is from Anam Gul. Anam is asking, most children have difficulties in learning math. Now, how do we differentiate these difficulties from dyscalculia? Is there a short way or methodology to approach this?
Okay. There's another question which has been frequently coming in the chat box. I would also like to answer that. And it's a very important question. That is the difference between a slow learner and a LD child? There is a big difference. A slow
Right.
learner can be a child who has a lower IQ. Who could be, generally the average IQ is supposed to be 90 to 110. And a slow learner could have anything between 75 to 90, right? But an LD child will have from 90 to 150 because they are above average also in their IQ. And that is why I'm all the time worried about these kids. If they are not guided and trained properly, then they can be the biggest terrorist of this country, of this world, because the brain works very well. Their brain works very fast. So if we don't love them, care them, and help them to overcome their problem, they will find some other ways to trouble the world, because that's what they are receiving, right? So that's why I'm really worried about LD. I'm very passionate about these LD kids. They're wonderful. Your question was maths. Well, fear of maths is very different from dyscalculia. Dyscalculia children, as I said, have problem with even identifying between multiplication and addition. Now, these two symbols to us is very distinct, but to them, it's very confusing. Just look at those symbols, the arrows, addition and multiplication, or confusion between subtraction and division. So they don't know whether they have to divide or subtract because the symbols are not clear to them in their brain when they are solving it. So they may not have fear, but they have problem with identification numbers and basic computation skills. But a child who has fear, if taught by a loving teacher, if taught in a different method, can even master maths. That's the major difference between LD and a child with fear.
Great. Wonderfully answered, ma'am. The last question for today that I have is from Madhumita. How to help children with memory challenges? And do children with learning difficulties necessarily have memory challenges? Because most of them do have it.
Yeah. These kids are very, very good with visual learning. So whatever you can show them visually, and today it's so easy with technology, they retain learning visually in their memory. They have problem with remembering, whatever's taught auditory in our school systems. Again, I'll come to India. School systems have a lot of auditory. Even universally, if you see, there are three categories of people: visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. The visual learners are 65% in the world as per one of the UN statistics. Auditory learners are 30 or 32, and the other three are kinesthetic. I'm one of those kinesthetic learners. Kinesthetic learners are very few in the world. Now, if you use all visual techniques to teach them, I think everybody is going to be benefited by it, and they learn much faster and they retain the content very well.
Right. Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was such a wonderful and informative session. A lot of people are asking me how can we connect with you. To all of them, I would like to inform, please write to us at support@ability.com. We'll try and send your messages across to Madam Balasaraswathy so that she could connect with you. Please do write to us if you wish to connect to our speakers, and soon we'll be coming up with a platform where you can interact with ability speakers directly. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. That brings us to the end of today's session. Ma'am Balasaraswathy, if you have some final few words about today's experience.
Well, one is if they ask me how they can connect with me, as I said, I have a platform called LD Remedial World. If you just click it on the Google LD Remedial World, you can come to the website and see what's happening. Thank you for that. And one message for all of you is my first message: be patient. Be patient with these kids. They are amazing. They can become anything. President of India, like Winston Churchill, is a typical case of dyslexia. He was the prime minister for how many years? 3 terms. So these kids can do anything. They have so much of ability. All that you need to have is patience, patience, and patience. Thank
Patience definitely can go a long way. Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear attendees, if you wish to attend future workshop or webinar from Ability, please find the link to attend the session in the chat box below. And also, if you are I'm receiving a lot of queries related to certificates. So we are sharing a link which will explain you clearly how to access certificate for attending today's webinar. If you follow few simple steps, you would be able to download your certificate in your particular system. You just need to keep an eye on your inbox if you have registered for the events from Ability. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. Also, if you wish to express or access the checklist from Ability and get early access to all those checklists, do not forget to register your interest and share with us your top 3 preferences. The checklist with the maximum number of votes will get released first. So do share your interest and preferences with us in the link that is being shared in the chat box right now. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Do share your feedback that will help us to continuously improve the experience further for you all. Thank you, ma'am, for such an engaging session. Thank you so much for being a part of Ability.
To all the people from all the country. I don't know, somewhere it is good morning, somewhere it's good evening, somewhere it's good night and good afternoon. Thank you so much for patient listening, and I hope the session was valuable to you and you'll be able to implement. I love all your LD kids, and if I can be of any use to any one of you, please connect with me. Thank you. Thank you, Swati. Sure. Thank you, Ability. Thank you, Bala.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.